know it with the temperature of Eagles Nation. You wouldn't know it with the conversation floating around. Guess what? The Eagles are actually still 4-0. One of only two teams that are 4-0. I'm going to talk everybody off the ledge today. That all is fine with the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown. Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, whatever else comes up, we'll talk about it. Trending in the AM, we are live. Taking your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be on a daily basis here in Philadelphia. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel, and please, before we get started, hit that like button, hit that share button, and of course, subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page. Starting today at 706 subscribers. We've crossed over 700. Now we're on our way to 800. Can't get to 1,000 until you get to 800, guys. So please, like, subscribe, share, and vote on today's poll question. Are you bothered by the A.J. Brown situation? Yes, he needs to shut up. No, he just wants to win. Option C is it's better than driveway sit-ups. And option D, who cares? We are 4-0, so make sure you vote on the poll question, guys. Like, even if you're watching this on replay, hit those like, subscribe buttons. Drop your comments for the replay gang. I will respond on YouTube to every single comment, guys. Yes, good morning, Adam. We're up to 706 to start the day. Onward and upward. We gained 9 new subscribers yesterday. What's up, Dad, Mr. Chips? How you doing today? Good morning, Big Al. Happy, yes, 700 plus. Love it, too. I appreciate it. I'm very happy with it. No laps. I'll flex when we get to 1,000. I'll flex at 1,000, and I'll flex at 5,000, and I'll flex at 10,000. Those are the numbers that I'm gunning for. Good morning, Elephant in the room. How you doing? Guys, we got lots to get into today because I want to obviously talk a lot about A.J. Brown and that situation as it's ever evolving, as we hear from Nick Sirianni about it, as we get rumored it was targeting people. So we're going to talk about Mr. Cryptic A.J. Brown a little bit today. We are also going to talk about how I want to talk you all off the ledge because the Eagles are, despite all the problems, despite all the issues, despite the offense, they're still 4-0. Much better than being 2-2 or 0-4. We've got a 2-game lead in our division already, playing our worst football. Everyone wants to compare it to 2023. I don't. Because this is a much different team than 2023. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. Obviously, the A.J. Brown stuff is dominating headlines. What's up, Michael Barrera? How you doing? I'm bothered because keep issues in-house. If you want to beef about your stats, close the office door and speak with coach. Get off social media. It's toxic. Look, I get that, okay? And I get that philosophy. I think, Mike, what we've got to do is understand the athlete of today. The athlete of today is going to use social media. What would you rather? Him put out a cryptic tweet or him getting in Nick Sirianni's face on the sideline a la Jamar Chase last night with the Bengals? What would you rather him do? Sit-ups in his driveway. You know, the situation could be much worse. People today use social media to vent, to be frustrated, to let their express their feelings. In this day and age, social media is just the way it's done. Now, I hate the rumors floating around by Jeff McClain that it was directed at someone specifically. We could dissect who is he really talking to. But A.J. Brown wants to win, but A.J. Brown wants to be known as the best. I firmly believe that A.J. Brown wants to not be known as one of the 5 best wide receivers in football. He wants to be known as the best. And people are digging into his post-Super Bowl comments, and I think taking them too far as well, thinking that he doesn't really care about championships. He cares about individual stats. I don't think that's the case. He wants the Eagles to win a Super Bowl and be a reason why they've won the Super Bowl. And I get it. And I understand why, what you're saying, Michael. I agree. Keeping it in-house is very, very important. Drama is a problem in locker rooms. But if he was really a problem in a locker room, he wouldn't be a captain on this team. He would not have that C patch on his chest. A.J. Brown killing me in fantasy. He's killing everybody in fantasy, but stick with him because he will get it going. Tyler, what's up? Let's go Reds. The Phillies would crush the Reds in the playoffs. Good luck against the Dodgers, though. Nobody cares when I bitch about the gig. AJ, chill out. Yeah, AJ needs to chill out. I get it, but again, this is his way of leading, okay? AJ is the choking phoenix of. I was expecting some kind of Napoleon comment there. I think the writing is on the wall, and AJ will not finish his career here, so it's whatever, which is why I went from the last option. Look, he probably won't finish his career here, not because of the tweets, okay? He's not going to finish his career here because you can only pay so many people, okay? The thing is, all right? The thing is, he's going to be an Eagle this year. He's going to be an Eagle next year. But then after that, we'll discuss that. That cap hit is a thing. Prayers for Tyreek Hill, horrible injury. He did have a horrible injury. I don't know about whether he's not also the greatest individual, but awful knee injury, awful leg injury. As a guy that's had devastating leg injuries, I can speak from experience. That leg and knee is effed up, and he might not play again. Agreed from Mike, but look how Saquon was handling it. He is not filling the stat line sheet either. But Saquon's getting the touches. Okay, Michael? He had 20-plus carries multiple times this year. They're still going to him despite it not working. If anything, Saquon could be complaining about getting the ball too much when it's not working. Hell, the guy got banged up and hurt, almost came off the field. And what do? They hand him the ball the next play right up the middle again and get him crushed again. Who cares who has more yards, Josh Browning and Jalen Hurts? What is their win-loss records is all that matters. What if A.J. Brown lost a step, though? It's an interesting. Would trading him now be an option? It is zero chance you trade him, Peanut. Simply the fact you would take on a near $90 million in dead cap space this year from trading him. You trade him after this year, it's still $50 million in dead cap space. When you've got to pay Jalen Carter and pay all these other guys, you can't take on those big dead cap hits. So after next year, the dead cap hit drops to like $7 million. So he's going to be here this year and next year. I read something here, and I don't understand this stat. I've never actually heard of this stat before, Peanut. But Shane Half, obviously from Pinpole, we love Shane Half. He called it the open score. Okay, I guess it's what percentage of the time you're running routes that you're open. Okay, I don't know how they figure this out. Okay, but A.J. Brown's open score. Okay, from 21 till now in 2025. 2021, his open score was 99. In 22, it was 92. In 23, it was 82. Last year, it was 91. This year, it's 52. So A.J. Brown's open score, however that's calculated, never heard that analytic stat before, is down over 40% so far this year. So that's a big deal right there, right? His open score being that low, that's a big, big deal. Has he lost a step? Maybe. Maybe not. Are we playing four great defenses early on? Possibly. Do we have injuries all over the team? Absolutely. I look at Landon Dickerson, and these stats I do know. These analytics I do know. The offensive line is not performing well. Landon Dickerson is playing hurt, right? Landon Dickerson, so far, these stats were from Anthony DeBona's page. So far this year, Landon Dickerson has given up 3 sacks and 13 pressures on Jalen Hurts. All right? That's a pace of 12 sacks and 55 pressures, okay? His worst year ever, Landon Dickerson, 2023, he gave up 5 sacks and 38 pressures. So he's on pace to nearly triple his sack projection this year, his worst year sacks, and he's on pace for almost double the amount of quarterback pressures. That's just one offense lineman. That's not talking about Cam Jurgens. That's not talking about any of the other guys. Okay? Just Landon Dickerson alone is showing that this team's banged up. This team's not executing. Now, we could sit here and say Kevin Patullo's play calling is not good. It is not good. We are still 4-0. We can also say the execution isn't good. But the guys up front, what do we always talk about on this show? The trenches matter. Having a great offensive line, great defensive line matters in winning the NFL. We have, in theory, great players. They are not performing at their peak. And we are still 4-0. I'm going to throw it out there. If I'm the Eagles, I'm talking about maybe sitting Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson for a week or two. They're never going to get to 100% at this point, okay? But we kind of got to get them closer to 100%. All right, we already gained one. We waited until the end of the show to gain a couple yesterday. Guys, keep hitting that like button, subscribe, share, vote on the poll question. 50% of the poll question is voting. Who cares? We are 4-0. Only 7% of you so far voted yes. He needs to shut up, talking about A.J. Brown. In 23, Jake Browning was NFL yard leader. Was he? Who knows? Who cares? He still stinks. So if my offense had negative yards, was it in second half, but wide receivers still win? What are you questioning there? Didn't Hurts hit the 200-yard mark the week before? He did. In other news, I've never seen a wide receiver as happy as Tyreek Hill was after his injury. He did look quite happy. I think, no offense, I don't know what was going through his head, Peanut, but I do know that when I had my devastating leg injury, some of it was from blood loss because I was bleeding pretty bad from my leg injury in college. I kind of went into shock a little bit, not just because of the pain, but just because of the things that were rolling through my head as a 21-year-old, thinking that I might never walk again. When the doctor said you got a 60% chance of amputation in surgery, if we can't save your leg, there's some things like, so I don't know if he was necessarily happy. He might have been a little bit in shock. When your leg is bent in the direction that his was, I don't know if I would have reacted any differently. I may have reacted the same way. They play Panthers next week. They finally get 2 wins. Who's playing the Panthers next week? He's going to spend the year on vacation. Tyreek Hill is going to be bouncing from baby mama house to baby mama house, right? Maybe he's looking for another baby mama. I don't know. Like I'm not worried about Tyreek Hill too much. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, the person, is not as good as Tyreek Hill, the football player. Tyreek Hill was getting close to retirement anyway, and an injury like that is definitely going to push him closer to that retirement level. But look, we could talk all about what would you have been doing. I don't even want to think about that, Adam. I have no clue. No clue. Life would have been different. That is for sure. I just think that the Eagles, while we put all this blame game on just Kevin Patullo's play calling, I think that there's a forgetting of the fact that the players still got to go out there and execute, that the players got to go out there and be better. And despite all of this, we're 4-0. And I hear everybody talking about, well, the 2023 Eagles, right? Okay. Well, the 2023 Eagles, let's remember the 2023 Eagles. We had DeAndre Swift, not Saquon Barkley. We had, a younger version of some of these guys, less experience. We had Kelsey at center still, which is the one big change there on offense. On defense, we were starting Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham. Bradbury and Slay having their worst years of their career. Rookie Reed Blankenship with Kevin Byard at safety. A much different team. Right now, you got Vic Fangio and an elite defense, so you can spend time figuring out the offense. You can spend time figuring out how to call plays. You can spend time getting these hurt offensive linemen healthy. I want A.J. Brown to make the Hall of Fame. Hurts needs to throw the ball better so A.J. can become the greatest of all time. Again, I'm going to go back to this, Mr. And good morning to you. I don't know where this A.J. Brown open score was created, but Shane Haff was talking about the open score. A.J. Brown's not getting open either, okay? A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts missed 2 throws that he normally makes to A.J. Brown this past week, which he doesn't normally miss those throws. But outside of that, A.J. Brown's not open a lot of the time. Sean Alexander is having his 14th kid. Yeah, he's trying to compete with Phillip Rivers for most children for an NFL, retired NFL player. Peg Leg Phil podcast would have gotten, it would be at 1,000 subscribers already, right? Peg Leg Phil. I was close to being Peg Leg Phil K1. 23 Eagles had the worst defense in the league. Exactly. Okay? So when the offense struggled, the defense wasn't there to pick them up. When the defense struggled, the offense could only do so much, right? Right now, you've got arguably the best linebacker in football, the best cornerback in football, the best slot corner in football. You've got potential defensive rookie of the year on your defense. Now, the Eagles' defense did take another hit in its depth. The big O, double O, Agbo Akwankwo, out for the year, tricep tear, was announced officially yesterday. So it's more depth issue at the edge position. We still only have 5 sacks, I believe it is, through 4 weeks, which is not good. In 23, we couldn't get the sacks that we got in 22. Bradbury and Slay got burnt from it. On the flip side, this year, we're not getting sacks, but we have elite cornerback play. So we're making up for it. This Eagle, I don't like the conversation of comparing this year to 2023 because it's such a different team, Yas. Such a different team. And I don't think people realize how bad, just again, Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham were your starting linebackers. James Bradbury was still your starting cornerback. You're going with an undrafted rookie, Reed Blankenship, as your starter at safety. A.J. Brown is always open. Just throw the ball. I mean, you know what? The stats, the analytics can say what it is. You are not wrong there. Most times, if you put the ball near A.J. Brown is so strong, he's a grown man playing a kid's game, basically is the way I like to look at it. He's going to make the plays more often than not. And just so you know, mister, I'm not going against A.J. Brown. I have no problem with A.J. Brown's cryptic messages, his book thing the year before. A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown. Wide receivers are divas, but wide receivers also have weird little screws loose in their head, like the way they act, okay? If A.J. Brown was a problem in the locker room, A.J. Brown wouldn't have that C on his chest. This is just A.J. Brown's way of leading. Everybody, every manager you've ever had in your life manages differently. Every leader leads differently. Napoleon, elephant in the room, leads different than Patton, okay? So I'm okay with it. I'm just trying to say, actually, all I'm saying is I'm not worried. We're 4-0 against 4 very difficult teams in 4 difficult situations. We're 4-0 playing our worst football. Maybe the struggles early in the season here are good for the Eagles. Maybe the struggles and the way this week went will be the wake-up call that the Eagles need to start loosening things up, getting things going. I think people forget. We're 4-0, right? We're 2 games up in our division. We're a game up on everybody in the NFC. There's only 2 undefeated teams, the Eagles and the Bills. Would you rather be in the Ravens situation right now, 1-3? Would you rather be in the Commanders situation at 2-2? No. TMC called no edge. He did, and now it's even worse. They tried that whole second half, and he didn't catch one. Yeah, I mean, they were forced balls in the double coverage, in the bad plays. He did miss a couple throws in the second half, Anthony. He had the one down the left sideline where he overthrew him, and another one, well, both were overthrown, which Jalen Hurts is great at throwing the deep ball. One of the first one, the one on the bottom of the screen, if Jalen throws it more downfield than to the sideline, I think that's a big completion. The other one on the top of the screen, I don't think was ever going to get caught. Wide receivers are nuts. They've got screw looses, okay? Every good wide receiver thinks they're great. Every great wide receiver thinks they're elite. Every elite wide receiver thinks they're the GOAT. And I think A.J. Brown wants to be in that I'm an elite wide receiver, but I want to be the GOAT category. This is just how he does it. A.J. Brown did nothing wrong. It's better than him doing sit-ups, right? Napoleon references. Look, I'm just jumping the gun. If I don't make the Napoleon reference, you guys are. I've got to be the first to it, okay? Good morning, little G. Let's kick those Broncos' ass. Broncos did win last night. What's up, Mitchie Poo? Good morning to you. I'm talking to everybody off the ledge today, Mitchie Poo. Off the ledge today. Because we are a 4-0 football team. Nobody had this Eagles team 4-0 to start the season. Nobody, right? Everyone said 2-2, 3-1, maybe, right? You had Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. You had the Chiefs. You had the Bucks. You had the Rams. All playoff Super Bowl teams. Okay? And we ran the table. We've literally ran the table. So you know what? Yes, there's problems. Yes, there's frustrated players. But yes, being 2 games up in the NFC East already, I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be very, very happy about that. So with double O out, the big O, double O out, who comes up to replace him? I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Azeez Ojulari is the next guy. He's been a healthy scratch every game this year. If he does not get activated this week, then you might as well just cut the guy. You're going to see more Patrick Johnson this week, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Jalen Hunt's got to step up. You know, here's something that I'm going to bring up with double O out, okay? Because he's just he hasn't dressed every game. I think he's only dressed 2 of the 4 games so far. But with Big O out and your depth hurt there, Nakobe Dean can start practicing this week. He can come back anytime he wants now. If Nakobe Dean is good to go, I don't think Nakobe Dean starts and plays regularly because you're not taking Jihaad Campbell off the field. But you might get a situation once Dean is ready, 5 to 10 times a game, where you have Bond, Dean, and Campbell on the field because we saw, Vic Fangio blitz, I think it was Zach Bond blitz 5 times on Sunday. Bond or Campbell going after the quarterback with Dean in the middle. That is what you might see in the next 2. I don't think Nakobe Dean will be back this week, but he might start practicing. So maybe in 2 to 3 weeks, you see a situation where you got 3 linebackers on the field. One of them playing that edge role. Full transparency, it was 4 really good teams. Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, forget about it. Exactly. Maybe they will look flashy if they get a garbage team. Maybe they will, and we're a few weeks away from that. They're 4-0, they're doing something right. Exactly. And that is what I think the main point should be. We have a chance to be 8-0. We do. I mean, the Broncos are a good football team. I like the Broncos. They beat up on a banged-up Bengals team, whatever. Nobody's making a big deal about Jamar Chase in their coach's face on the sideline publicly, right? We got the Giants twice after that. Eagles opponents are 7-2-1 in games not against the Eagles. Great stat here. And I saw this stat before. I forgot to write it down. 7-2-1. It's a great stat, Anthony, and it's one that I've seen and I love it. Broncos mid, Giants and Vikings stink. So 8-0 is within our reach. Having linebackers is a great feeling. Mitch, I said this earlier. Everyone likes to compare this team to the 2023 team, right? 2023, we had Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham starting at linebacker. Not trying to say anything about those guys. I'm not talking bad about those guys. But the difference between Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham to Zach Bond and Jihaad Campbell, we're talking night and day here, right? Broncos, Vikings, Giants twice, bye. We will be fine. There's a chance we're 7-1, 8-0 going into the bye. K1. There is. Should be. The spread is down to, so it started 5.5, now 4.5. Well, I mean, the Broncos put up against the Bengals over 500 yards of offense. I didn't watch much of the game. Fell asleep a little early last night, but I did look at the box score. Over 500 yards of offense. Almost 200 rushing, over 300 passing. You got to think that the Eagles defense will be tested again this week. I hope the Eagles get to fit. I will, on the live watch party, I'll wear one of my Wentz shirts on the watch party if Wentz is the starter. Guarantee it, Anthony. Guarantee it. Why the NFL, why the hell do we have ties? That's a subject maybe for another day or an off-season topic, man, chatter. But I agree. I mean, there's no need for buys or ties. Okay? No need to have ties in football. Just play the game until somebody wins. It's so stupid. This is just a well-run organization. Exactly. And you hear Nick Sirianni yesterday talking about, literally he had a 14-minute press conference yesterday. I bet about 80% of the questions were directed about the A.J. Brown situation. And to sum it up, Nick Sirianni's like, never question his desire to win and his desire to be a Philadelphia Eagle. All right? Never. And I don't. A.J. Brown just wants to be known as the best, plain and simple. The Bengals have historically bad defense. Yeah, they've had a bad defense for a while. They have. And without their starting quarterback, Joe Burrow, it makes things even worse and harder for them. Damn, Phil, I pulled the letters off the back of the win. I don't have a jersey. I think the only thing I have left of his is a jersey, but I'll rock my jersey. I love it. Again, I've always said it. We don't win the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. So you know what? I have bad memories of Carson Wentz, but I also have got plenty of great ones. Wentz is probably my second worst take of all time because I thought he was so elite. J.K. Dobbins had a day last night, for sure. R.J. Harvey had a good, solid game. You got three solid wide receivers in Sutton, Mims, and Franklin. Bo Nix put up over 300 yards last night passing. If the Sixers were run like the Eagles, we would probably have made it to an Eastern Conference Finals. Just one, right? Because Joel Embiid still would have to play, if that's the case. If I took my lower class paycheck and ain't it all on a ticket and it ended in a tie. Look, ties are just stupid. They really are. Ties in football are just stupid. Now, I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you go college route. Maybe you make them have to go for 2 points in overtime so that there's more of a chance that a tie doesn't happen. But it is what it is. Guys, a lot of people have been watching. We got 19 votes on the poll, but only 13 likes on the video. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. Please share it out. And, of course, subscribe. Would greatly, greatly appreciate it. But, A.J. Brown's frustrations come from the play calling, sure. But A.J. Brown's frustrations come from the offensive line not blocking well. I think the biggest question is how do we get the offensive line back to the way it was last year, right? The last couple of years. Landon Dickerson clearly hurt and playing hurt. Lane Johnson has now missed more than 2 halves of football the last 2 games. Am I crazy to suggest, okay? Am I crazy to suggest sitting Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson for the next 2 to 3 weeks? Am I crazy for that? I know the backups, the Matt Pryors, the Brett Toss of the world, not that great. But you got 2 key pieces. You got a 2-game lead in the division right now. You got 1 tough game followed by a couple easier games. Do you go out there and sit those guys? Get them from 70% to 85% healthy? Look at Phil Nolan and other teams. I'm not as dumb as you think. That is the key. Kenny Gainwell being gone is the key that has screwed everything up, right? Again, we're not trading A.J. Brown. It is physically impossible to trade A.J. Brown. So let's not talk about the trading A.J. Brown. It is not happening. Virtually impossible. Landon has been so bad. But again, yes, Landon's been bad. I went over the stats. I don't know if you heard him, Anthony. Anthony DeBona, 3 sacks and 13 pressures this year. He's on pace for 12 sacks, 55 pressures. His worst year was 5 sacks and 38 pressures. He's almost doubling the amount of pressures and almost tripling the amount of sacks on his current pace. He is hurt. He had MCL knee surgery 2 weeks before the season and gotten rolled up on that knee multiple times since. The guy is playing at 60% capacity right now. He's just one of those tough guys that just can't stop playing. So almost to me, I'm saying sit the guy. What do we got? 4 weeks till the bye? Put him on IR for 4 weeks. And then you add in the bye. That's 5-week break for Landon Dickerson. If he's 60%, say, and you give him 5 weeks off, you still probably win a couple of those games. And he gets to 85, 90% by doing that. Just a crazy idea. I saw something like hockey do a shootout and have the kickers do, I don't like the kickers shootout thing. I saw somebody else suggest that. I'm not for that. I'd say eliminate extra points in overtime. Hell, I actually don't hate the way college does overtime. Put the ball in the 25 and both teams keep going back and forth. And you got to go for 2. I love that. That's what I would be doing, personally. Oh, another one. We're up to 708. Guys, keep hitting that subscribe button. Come on. I figured out at last week's rate, we could be at 1,000 before Thanksgiving, guys. Dang, we hit it like 2 days ago. Where were you? No, yesterday, actually. I think we started yesterday at 697. So we've gained 11 since yesterday morning. And don't forget, Landon Dickerson's coming off of back surgery. Just think of what's going on with Landon Dickerson. And let's not forget about Lane Johnson either. Just imagine if there was any way to identify this as a Phillies show. Well, this is a Phillies show. It's easy if you try. What is identifying? Yeah. Start from the 30 and move in. Maybe. Put them in the red zone and you get 4 plays. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways. You don't need ties. Speaking of hockey, that Flyers game was so good last night. Darth Vlader was great. Honestly, a week ago, I didn't even know the Flyers were already playing preseason games. Good for them, right? Marshawn, what's up, my man? Built-in excuses. Look, I don't think saying Landon Dickerson is performing at 60% capacity right now is an excuse. I think it's a fact. Plain and simple. There are problems with this team, but there's reasons why there's problems with this team. I did say yesterday, guys, and I did look it up. We're all talking about who's going to help Kevin Patullo get out of his rut play calling. And this is a quote from an Athletic article, the Athletic article, when the Eagles hired Scott Loeffler from Bowling Green to be our quarterback coach, okay? So there is somebody on the Eagles coaching staff that has play calling experience. Loeffler's depth of collegiate play calling experience should support Patullo. I wonder how much Loeffler, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Loeffler or Loeffler, I'm not sure how much he's influencing the play calling. But maybe he needs to do more of it. Bought a bag of 1,000 milligram gummies and ate them by the handful. That's where I was. Oh, good for you. I'm jealous. Looks like to me the Birds' hands are semi-tied on what they can call in the running game this far. They are not calling stretch plays and seem to be asking less laterally. I saw somebody, Nooms, it was probably Shane Haffer, one of the Pimple guys, because that's who I watch for film study most of the time, that there was a run where we had guards pulling yesterday on Sunday. And it was like the first time we've seen it all year long. It was on A.J. Dillon's 8-yard run. First time we've pulled guards all year. Where's the guard pulling? Plowing the highway, right? Does that have to do with the injuries the offensive line is facing? Landon Dickerson's hurt. Lane Johnson's hurt. Cam Jurgens, I don't know if he's hurt or just not performing. Tyler Steen got hurt last week. I salute you to that, Marshawn. Who's in the Who's the Broncos running backs? The Broncos running backs are J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. They ran for 186 yards, counting some wide receiver runs as well yesterday. 186 yards last night. So they're running pretty well. Therefore, the defenses are collapsing between the tackles. Yeah. I don't know how much of it's bad play calling versus how much of it's injuries causing different play calling. Leffler, it's pronounced. Okay, Leffler. Well, why is there an O in his name then? Why is there an O in his name? What the hell is with people putting silent letters in their names? Seriously, right? Did you say, yes, our quarterback coach was the head coach of Bowling Green the last 6 or 7 years and actually did a very good job at Bowling Green the last 6, 7 years. They brought him in as the quarterback coach this year. I'm messing after 20. Okay. There was a ton of pulling guards last year. Every play there was pulling guards last year. And look, Cam Latu's been good on special teams, right? But Cam Latu isn't doing Ben Van Sumeren good on the blocking of fullback. We used to run center pulls a lot as well. Yeah. And we're not doing it. How much of that goes to the conversation that these guys are hurt, right? Shane and Johnny ranting about how terrible the run play design has been this year is such a great listen. Whatever the Stout being in charge of the run game. Again, no excuses here because it has not been good. But how much of it is based on injuries, Anthony? When you've got arguably one of the top 5 left guards in football, and he's on pace to have his worst season of his career, some of that's got to go to the injuries. Some of that's got, as a play caller, doesn't that got to affect you? Well, I can't call this because Landon can't do it. Does Kevin Patullo have his own hands tied in the play calling because of the personnel and what kind of shape they're in, right? It's a German name. I mean, I'm German, but I am more Italian than German. Ich spreche Deutsch, aber ich nicht verstehe. We might need to sit Dickerson and Jurgens out for 4. I didn't say Jurgens. I said Dickerson and Lane. But I would absolutely be okay with putting Landon Dickerson on IR for 4 weeks. And honestly, then you've got the bye, so you're giving Landon Dickerson 5 weeks off. I mean, I know that means Brett Toth at left guard. Maybe Matt Pryor. Not ideal. But it might be something we need to consider, Versetti. And it's not the first time I've said that today. Left used to be a graduate assistant at Michigan. I think he also played quarterback at Michigan like 750 years ago. In German, Phil, seriously. Ich nicht verstehe Deutsch. Ich spreche sehr gut. If it isn't an Italian or Anglo name, Phil, it's totally, basically. Pretty much. Trivia question of the day. How is the 90s drama series 21 Jump Street associated to the Philadelphia Eagles? Was it a 90s drama? I thought it was late 80s. Anyway, I know the answer to this. Somebody's asked me this before, and I had to figure it out. And now I forget. See, the thing is, mister, this is not a new trivia question. Now I can't remember it. Damn it. It's German. Okay. I think a lot of teams are trying to stifle the run, knowing it is dominating the league last year. Some play calling it injuries, play factor. There is also that. Absolutely. Right? 100%. They're not going to let Saquon go like that. And hell, someone earlier in the show said, did A.J. Brown lose a step? Maybe Saquon has lost a step too. I mean, it's not crazy to say the year after 2,000-yard rushing season, you take a step back. It's not crazy to say that at all. I would think having Saquon run outside would be better if the guard centers are hurt. They just keep running up the middle. Makes no sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. Holly Robinson was in it. That's correct. That's one. Holly Robinson married to former Eagles quarterback Rodney M.B. Pete. You got to put the M.V. in front of Pete, just so you know. Going back to the Ray Rhodes era there. I told my daughter not 50%, not 78%. Your future husband needs to be 100% Italian. Smart man. Those surgeries, both Jurgens and Dickerson had a certain timeline that both seem to be shortened a bit. I honestly hope they didn't do more damage in the short term. It's possible. It is absolutely possible. All right. What? Unkinder. What? Here. Well, shout out to, yeah. I love Rodney Pete, that Ray Rhodes era of Eagles football. It was the bridge from Buddy Ryan to Andy Reid, the Ray Rhodes era. It was the bridge. It was an interesting time, for sure. But look, again, if you turned on the dial, if you turned on the radio, you would think the Eagles were 0-4. And I ask this question again. Would you rather be in any other team's situation right now than the Eagles? A Super Bowl championship roster that you know can get it done, that is 4-0 against 4 difficult teams. Would you rather be anybody else right now? And I say no. Oh, I was just lying. I took German in high school. I am German, but you're going off of, I graduated high school 27 years ago. All right? I don't remember that much German. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Zwölf. I know my letters and my numbers and a few words. That's it. Ray Rhodes error. Error, not era, right? I don't think that was by mistake from K1 there. I don't think Saquon lost a step getting contacted in backfield. Yeah, I mean, a big thing last year, Nooms, and I didn't look these stats up, so I don't know the exact numbers. A big thing last year about Saquon's success was the amount of yards before first contact. That Saquon was doubling the league average last year. I forget the exact numbers of yards before contact. It's not happening this year. He's getting hit immediately. I saw somebody actually tweet this out yesterday. I forget who. And I think it was he's gaining less than a full yard before contact. That's not good. I think I saw he leads the league in touches, like handoffs, rushing attempts. But he's 31st, I think, in yards per run. It's not good. I don't know if it's Patullo or Nick calling the plays. It reeks like Nick, though. No, I don't think Nick is calling the plays. I think it feels like that because Kevin Patullo is a disciple of Nick. That Kevin Patullo learned offensive philosophies from Nick. And this is where maybe Scott Leffler needs to come in and help him out. If he's called plays so much in college, yes, maybe he can help influence some change on this offense. Regular season don't matter to this team. It's just talking points to this point, especially at 4-0. I agree. Well, what did we always say last year? It's just line them up and knock them down, right? How we knock them down don't matter. Oh, I didn't forget Rich Kotite, but Rich Kotite was part of the Buddy Ryan era to me because he was just an extension, of Buddy Ryan, the offensive version of Buddy Ryan. And he was a nitwit and a clown and an idiot and probably the worst coach of the last 50 years in Eagles history. So, yeah, I don't forget about Rich Kotite, but he was a disciple of Buddy Ryan. He was the promote from within doesn't work, right? Defenses are daring us to run, and we can't because our O-line is banged up, and I think that's a problem. It's also a problem in the passing game, going back to the A.J. Brown portion of this conversation. A quarterback has to have faith in their offensive line to successfully pass the football. Especially when you're designing up plays that take 5 seconds for routes to get open. Okay? We don't have enough quick passes, not a quick slants, quick out patterns, not enough of those being called, where it's 1, 2, 3, boom, throw. When you have long developing plays and your offensive line can't block, the running back fails and the quarterback loses faith. Jalen Hurts, through 4 weeks, has taken more big hits than all of last year combined. I've done 4 live games here on this channel, watch parties. I think I said, at least once every game this year when Jalen Hurts takes a hit. This past week, he took one on the run, the slide that they didn't call a penalty on. Crazy. They did, and they picked it up. But he also took a big sack. 2 weeks ago against the Rams, He literally was speared Roman Reigns style. Jalen Hurts is getting beat up back there. Saquon Barkley is getting beat up and then run the next play. There's a problem with the play calling. You get Saquon Barkley banged up on a play. He says, no, I'm good. And you give him the ball the very next play. Everyone has more film on Barkley this year, so they're stopping him more. I don't know if it's necessary to film because great blocking would stop. The blocking can negate the film study. Okay? We're not talking about a sophomore slump. We're not talking about a rookie quarterback going in a sophomore slump. We're talking just the blocking. Until the interior line is more healthy this year, the move is to not blitz Jalen and have a spy out there, at which point you hope they can run. Yeah. But see, the thing is, unless you sit these guys, are they going to get healthy? Probably not. The week 5 bye would be clutch. I'll be honest. I hated the week 5 bye last year. It helped us. But the week 5 bye this year, would be so clutch. I kept telling everyone that the rapture was not last week. The only thing getting left behind is the Eagles' offensive scheme. That's good. Hurts was very obviously improved against it. He has improved against the blitz. It's clear. Even without, this past week he had a couple quick passes against the blitz. But even with his improvements against the blitz, most of the time in the last 4 weeks, they've been bad play calls, no hot routes, no slants, nothing to stop the blitz. All AJ patterns be wide receiver, has to panic, run back in the quarterback to get what? I don't know what you're saying there. No, not making sense there. Thankfully, our defense is bailing us out with turnovers. We are +4 on the giveaway takeaway. Yeah, we've had 1 turnover all year. Eagles offense. Could you imagine the uproar if Jalen was more aggressive with the football? We were 3-1 or 2-2, but he had 4 turnovers. Look at how many games this past weekend, K1, were lost because of a key turnover late. The Chargers lost because of a key turnover late. That's just one of them. Forget which other ones had key turnovers late. I know there was a bunch of them. Maybe Washington might have been one of them. I forget which other one. I think there's 3 games that ended on late turnovers. I would blitz when there is second string that struggles to sort traffic. I get it. And sitting these guys might not be ideal. But I'll take a few losses to have even more wins when it matters more. Second string. I knew what you meant, yeah. Nobody wants to hear this, but they are protecting a dinged-up O-line, but they are slowly implementing some new stuff. Some of the first half stuff was sneaky good. I don't want to hear it. Just kind of what I'm getting at. The whole point of this, we easily got off the A.J. Brown topic because I think we know what the problem is. The offensive line. Hell, you could make the same argument that the D-line is banged up. Jalen Carter is hurt. Jalen Carter's got a shoulder thing in training camp. He's always grabbing his arm. He's actually playing less snaps this year than before. Landon Dickerson missed weeks in training camp, implementing a new offense. There was some great play calls in the first half of the game and the second half of the Rams game. Now we need to see him put together for a full 60 minutes. K1 TIU thought you were getting what? He's on. Oh, yeah, whatever. You can't really take okay Barkley. He just run up on you and you want what? I have no idea what you're saying here right now. ESPN guy says all the successful patterns is we run out and then have to scramble back to Hurts to get open. I don't know. That being said, no one can create time and scramble like Hurts. That is true. I understood that comment. This is what NFL parity looks like. Minimize turnovers and taking advantage of your red zone chances. And I think that right there, the red zone chances, is a massively underrated stat this year. When the Eagles get the ball moving, they are now 11 for 11 on red zone trips, scoring touchdowns all 11 times. That's almost 3 times a game they're scoring when they get in the red zone. Another big stat is they're getting off the field on third down. They were, I think, 1 for 7 the Eagles defense held the Bucs to on third down this past week. You're winning the turnover battle. You're scoring in the red zone, and you're getting off the field on third down. 3 massive keys that are getting this Eagles team to 4-0. Just had to write some of those down there. It's good content for the Eagles check down. You can't really have tape on Barkley. I mean, there is tape on Barkley, but I don't think you really have tape on running back, so to speak. I think what you have is tape on the offensive line and their blocking schemes. He's going to run up on you if you prepare for it or not. Okay, I get what you're saying now. You could scheme it to bring in a fullback or linebacker and safeties to shut him down. Well, they are doing that. We're not playing in 100 degrees this week, which will help. What is the weather supposed to be like on Sunday? That'll play a factor. Let me check on Sunday's weather forecast here. I know it's a bit out. I know I got a golf outing on Monday, and I know Monday's going to be warm. Sunday, we're looking at a sunny high of 80 degrees. That'll help. That'll help the Eagles for sure. That forces Hurts to have to win with pass, which he ultimately will. Absolutely. I feel like Patullo gets on my nerves, dude. Teams are keying on him. Again, how much of it's on Patullo? How much of Patullo's hands are tied because of the injuries on the offensive line? Kevin Patullo's not been good. I don't want to stand up for Kevin Patullo. He has not been good this year. It's obvious. But we have seen 3 halves of great offensive play calling. So it is up there for him. There is knowledge on what to do. It's him putting it all together. It's 4 weeks into his career as a play caller because he's never done this before. I think a little patience needs to be had. Denver D looked awesome against the Bengals. Take it with a grain of salt since the Bengals without Joey B are only the 3rd best team in Ohio behind Ohio State and Cleveland. Look, last night's Bengals game, you could take something from it with the Broncos, but on the other side, you got to understand the Bengals are playing without their star quarterback again. So most of the time, that's going to end. I mean, I took the Broncos -7.5, and I would never bet a game like that. Birds are probably the best at knowing when to take the aggressive gamble, whereas players, Mayfield, Allen, Love, come at more of a, yeah, exactly. 100%. Everybody wanted Jalen Hurts to stop turning the ball over. So he stopped being so aggressive on every single play and picked and chose when to do it. And now we're hating him because he's not more aggressive. The Eagles defense creates a lot of 3-and-outs or 6-and-outs because they get off the field on third down. Barkley is getting keyed in on this year. Need to spread the ball around. Again, it's a little bit of him being keyed in on, and it's a little bit of the blocking not being there for him. Talked about it earlier in the show, Versetti, that we saw one time this week, guards pull. It was on A.J. Dillon's 8-yard run. Guards pull, plowed up in a hole in the right side of the field. A.J. Dillon ran right up for 8 yards. That might be literally the first guard pull of the year. There's nowhere for him to run because the offensive line's not healthy. I'm not blocking well. Duck would be outraged by this Patullo. He would not be happy. Hopefully the Reds enter the Ohio equation. Yeah, I mean, who would you rather face, Nooms? The Reds, so they can, try to recruit Schwarber a little bit more, or the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani? Seems like everyone on offense is on the same page about sacrificing and not caring about how it looks, but AJ. Look, I just think AJ is using social media a way to vent, but maybe also a way to wake up the team. Social media is used in different ways now. I have no problem with what AJ did. That is just the current way of athletes and of people. They do their leader. AJ Brown, if he was a problem, would not have that C on his chest. Plain and simple. We've had 20 concurrent a lot today. We just did. Everybody hit that like button, that subscribe button, that share button, please. Would greatly appreciate it. Patullo is lucky we survived the second half. We should have kept our foot on their necks. And they may have tried. And they just may not have been effective at it. Just as much of it as Patullo's play calling. It's just as much execution from the players. You never want to lose, but if you're going to lose, do it early, outside the conference, and get your banged up dude some rest. Landon Dickerson, take a break. Take a breather. No practice this week, no game this week. And then you get the Giants next week. Maybe you come back, maybe you sit him for that too. I have no problem with that. Eagles have one turnover, have won the turnover battle every week, gets off third down, have made the crucial plays when needed. It's why we are 4-0 in spite of, exactly, in spite of the anemic offense. But the anemic offense has been good enough when necessary, right? These keys to why they're 4-0. Would you rather be in somebody else's shoes right now in the NFL? 2 games up in the division, 1 game up in the conference, tied for the best record in football. Would you rather be the Ravens or the Chiefs right now in their situations? No. Patullo literally gave Tampa life in the second half. He absolutely did. He got conservative with his play calling. There were some missed passes. I mean, if Jalen Hurts hits A.J. Brown deep down the sideline, when he had that chance in the third quarter, the whole thing changes. That's 2 games now that Jalen had A.J. Brown open downfield. Okay? One was the Dallas Goedert missed game. That was the KC game. And the blitz didn't get picked up by Calcaterra, so he couldn't throw it to A.J. Brown. And then this week, he just missed him. And Jalen Hurts is a great deep ball thrower. That's not like him. Okay? So there have been big plays called up that weren't executed right as well. If Jalen Hurts hits A.J. Brown in the third quarter deep on Sunday, the whole conversation changes. This whole week's different. Hell, we might not even win the game. Who knows? Mann and Elliott, shout out. Damn, they have been good. Braden Mann may be the greatest punter in Eagles history. What I see from him on a weekly basis, the dude's great. Jake Elliott's already, in my opinion, the best kicker in Eagles history. Braden Mann might be. But Irvin and Cam Newton will tell you that they would rather have Dak over Jalen. I know. I saw Michael Irvin say that the other day. A load of horseshit. I mean, those guys just got hit in the head one too many times, Marshawn. It's pathetic. Pathetic. What those guys, they can't give the guy any credit whatsoever. They're just jealous. Cam Newton's jealous because Jalen Hurts is 10 times the quarterback Cam Newton ever was. And Michael Irvin's jealous that, he's not as, I mean, he was great, so I don't know. Brady Mann has 35 negative rushing yards, yeah. I mean, Brady Mann's not carrying his weight in the blocking game either, or in the run game either, right? It was a really smart play call, too. Jalen is 19-0 in games he starts and finishes over the last 3 seasons. They're 20-21 over the last 21 games, the Eagles. I think people are losing sight of the true facts. We're 4-0. And it's much better to win 4 games and struggle winning those 4 games and learn what you need to fix than struggling in games and losing 2 of them. The Eagles know. The Eagles have been smacked in the face, let's say 3 of the 4 games this year, okay? They know they've got things to work on, but at least they've built themselves a 2-game cushion in the division that now they can work on those things. They can take some chances. They can do some different things. Not to be cliche, but we got to keep the main thing here. And the main thing is that we are 4-0. And I'm pretty sure that's the goal of it all, right? Michael Irvin said that the Cowboys tied with the Packers because of Dak, but they could have won, but Dak took a sack in the red zone. I saw somebody say, was Michael Irvin the one that said that was Dak's legacy game too, Marshawn? Look, I'm a Dak guy to an extent. I kind of always thought he got a bad rap. If he was in a real organization, not the crap of the Cowboys, maybe his career would be different. If you made him a game manager, not a gunslinger, maybe the thought process would be different. But Dak's just, this is not Dak. Dak's not in his 3rd or 4th year. Dak's been around a little while, for sure. You need a swoop plushie for your office. Well, mail me one. Did those last 2 points have a major common gambling implication. What 2 points? On the Eagles game with the punt. No, I think it was 3.5 or a 4.5 point spread. Unless you like use some kind of teaser or some kind of like spread adjuster, which you could do that. No, the direct line was not affected like it was the week before with Jordan Davis. That had a big betting swing, but the safety did not have any betting swing. McKee is greater than Herbert. But yeah, probably. I mean, how do you say Justin Herbert's better than Jalen Hurts when he just lost to rookie quarterback Jackson Dart? Like, seriously. They said, what did they say about Jackson Dart? He's the first rookie quarterback to ever lead a touchdown drive of 80 or more yards on his opening drive of his opening start ever. It was his first start, his first time touching the ball on offense. They led an 80-yard drive. First time that's ever happened, they said. We're 4-0, and we need to be grateful we're not like most of the other teams in the league struggling with a losing. Yeah, absolutely. We know there's problems, play calling, execution, injuries. We know all those things. We got a disgruntled A.J. Brown, maybe. We know all those things, but we're still 4-0. We could fix those things easier when we're 4-0 than if we were 1-3 right now and we had all these problems, we'd be in panic mode, right? We got to make a drastic change, a drastic decision to get back on a winning streak, right? But we don't have to do that right now. We can work on things. We can fix things without making any drastic decisions. We made a drastic decision in 23. Moving on from Desai to Patricia. It actually made things worse. How many years did Dak have either a top 5 defense and offense? What did that get the Cowboys? But they want to argue passing stats, and Dak has a look. I'll count Super Bowl trophies for Dak and Jalen Hurts, and that's it. And then the Cowboys fans will say, well, we've got 5 Super Bowl trophies from 30 years ago. One time my dad punched a wall thinking he lost the game until the Niners got a safety in the last second. I always wondered if he had to spend the winnings. Oh my God. My dogs are freaking out upstairs. Our fan base, I feel like, finds stuff to get upset about. Be grateful we're 4-0. I agree. And that's why the title of the show, Versetti, is what the title of the show is. Despite the conversation you're going to hear in the media, despite what you see beat reporters tweeting, despite what the national TV talking heads say, we're one of 2 teams in the NFL that's undefeated. The Commanders are 2-2. 2 full games behind us. Show us some of your furry guys. They're upstairs. They do not come down here. I would never argue with anyone about participation trophies and empty calorie stats. Keto stats. I like that. Michael Irvin said Dak was an MVP runner-up or some shit, literally arguing for being second place. You can't make up the shit you hear in the NFL. There's still plenty of people that'll take a lot of quarterbacks over Jalen Hurts. I'll take Jalen Hurts even with negative passing yards or no passing yards. In that second half, I'll still take Jalen Hurts over everybody else at this point. Then we could tell Cowboys fans we also have 5 rings, and they can't say anything more about aged-out rings. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get to 5 rings sooner rather than later, right? I'm a Dak guy, too. He suffers from the mentality that a franchise quarterback should be able to do it all. Bro, Herbert, Jackson, Allen should show everyone that big quarterback stats don't win Super Bowls. I'm also a big fan of Dak. I became a big fan of Dak the day that I blocked and stopped following Skip Bayless. Because I don't know if you know the story, Keith, but Dak's brother committed suicide. And Dak Prescott was open about his depression dealing with that. And then Skip Bayless went live on ESPN, I think he was with ESPN still at that point, not on FS1, said that Dak should not say that publicly. That's a bad image for the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys to say he's depressed. He needs to man up, basically, to paraphrase him. And ever since then, I've become a Dak fan. I mean, it happened years ago, Marshawn. It happened like 4 or 5 years ago. But that for some reason, him being open about his mental struggles, his depression, I latched onto him a little bit, and his family and that kind of stuff. Actually, when he was in Mississippi State, I wanted the Eagles to draft him. I did. Phil, I would rather take my licks than argue with anyone for being second place. Remember when we lost to the Chiefs and the Claire Weiner fan? Yeah, the Weiner fans came out for our necks because we lost. Exactly. It's either you're first or you're last. There's no in between. I get it. I can never tell anyone to man up for losing. Absolutely. I mean, I lost my dad 26 years ago, and I still struggle with it from time to time. But for some reason, that was always the end of the Skip Payless for me. Okay, never could deal with him ever again after that. Lost the 1% of respect I had. I lost it on that one there. Anyway, guys, we missed the top of the hour reset. It is 9:06 in the morning, guys. You're trending in the AM. We're talking people off the ledge today. But if you have not yet, hit that like button. If you have not shared, and of course subscribe, vote on our poll question. Are you bothered by the A.J. Brown situation? We got 22 votes so far. Yes, he needs to shut up, has 18% of the votes. No, he just wants to win, has 18% of the votes. It's better than driveway sit-ups, has 18% of the votes. And who cares? We are 4-0. It's got 45% of the votes. Now, I have no problem with how A.J. Brown expresses himself. I have no problem using social media to send subtle messages to players, to fans, to media, to teammates. But can it become a problem if that post by A.J. Brown doesn't lead to internal quiet meetings and conversations between whoever it's directed at? Then it could become a bigger issue. Yeah, I agree with this way of, you can angle, his story is inspiring, but he's still Cowboys. Yes, exactly. You know, F him for being a Dallas Cowboy, but if he got traded and went to the Raiders or something, then I wouldn't have a problem with him anymore. Niners fans are paying tenfold for the 80 success and coming for our necks. Yeah, basically. What's up, J. Don? How you doing? AJ, Jalen, Smitty, Barkley, and the O-line need to sit with the OC and head coach and figure it out. Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is they need to figure it out. Absolutely. But I think you also need to get the O-line healthy. Okay? I really don't think enough discussion is made about how the O-line injuries are affecting their efficiency, which is affecting the performance of everybody else, including Kevin Patullo's play calling. When you're worried that your guys can't execute the plays, it kind of hamstrings you a little bit. It handcuffs you a little bit. Yeah. If last year's Super Bowl, and that's the thing. I really, that's why, I always try to say on this show, setting the trends for what sports talk should be. I'm not, okay, buying into this negative media aspect where the sky is falling. And I hate the fact that so many Eagles fans still listen to the outside noise, right? You don't have to listen to this show. But there's plenty of other people just like me that want to put a different perspective on things and have a conversation, right? We won the Super Bowl. We're 4-0. We're still one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. We got an elite defense. We got arguably one of the best quarterbacks in football, great wide receiver, great running back. Things could be so much worse. Yet we're complaining about being 4-0. I stopped hating Emmett as much. Exactly. Philly fans are they are unhappy, right? Because that's what they're told to be. Philly fans trust the media way too much to figure out how to feel. And when the media tells you they stink, they believe them. And that's not good enough, right? It's time for Eagles fans to form their own opinion. Or take my opinions on. It's time for them to figure out it's okay to win ugly. He's not playing like a top one quarterback this year. I get it. He's still the guy I'll take because of the it factor. We are just as bad as the wealthy folks complaining about the tush push. Yeah. I mean, Dean Blandino was complaining about the tush push, and we weren't even running the tush push in the last game. Get that fook out of here. It is what it is. I just want it to be known that it is okay. It is okay to be 4-0 and win ugly. Yeah, look, Rick, we haven't seen eye to eye 100% of the time on 100% of topics. But I think there's way too much media driving the negative narrative into Philly fans' heads. Okay? Driving it into our heads. That we actually believe it sometimes. I said this earlier in the show, Rick. Is there another team right now in the NFL that you would rather be in the situation of other than the Eagles? Everything has gone as wrong as possible. And we're 4-0. Maybe these struggles are a good thing. Because now we know what we need to fix to continue to win. Right? And we can do it without being 2-2 or 1-3. Jalen just wants to win, and that's good enough for me. It's all I care about. I want rings. I want titles. I want championship parades. Dean Blandino is a deep state asset. I thought he was a commie spy maybe, but in sports, like in all life, all wins are beautiful. 100%. Wins in life are beautiful too. I need some wins in life. That's what I need. It amazes me how Lori doesn't have anyone on payola in the national media, given that Lori's background is in films and TV. Yeah. I mean, I think Jeffrey Lurie is not in the cool kids club with the owners. If you go back to the stories about the final meetings before the final vote of the tush push, how he had to stand up and talk to everyone, give a speech and all on the tush push, and it seemed like no one had his back, really. Some teams didn't vote against it, but I think that Lurie is in, while he's one of the richer owners, well, he's got one of the more successful franchises and organizations, well, he's probably the best owner in sports. I think there's a little jealousy from the other owners towards Jeffrey Lurie. And, yeah, maybe he should have somebody in the media spreading information or trying to put the positive spin on things, but I don't think that's the way Jeffrey Lurie does business. The lesson from 23 was appreciate all the winning and good things and don't surround things with negativity. Well, see, the thing is, and I get that and I agree with that, but also earlier in the show, I spent time. This team is drastically different. Everyone wants to go, oh, well, this team looks like the 23 team. Drastically different than the 23 team. Remember, the 23 team, I'll just give you one example. The 23 team, Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham were your starting linebackers. We got Zach Bond and Jihaad Campbell. Just think about that, okay? But I don't want to hear any comparisons of 25 and 23. Not at this point. I think what bothers people is that most teams that develop an inconsistent style of play rarely win anything, and that's what eats away at people. Maybe. Blandino was on the World Economic Forum Young Leaders list. We'll see. Imagine if the owners lose on one vote to ban the tush push. They'd be pissed. It is a glorious time to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Yeah, absolutely is. We're what, 5 days away? 4 days away? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4 days away from Red October starting. 23 team had Desai, Morrow, and two players named Darius who don't want to be called Darius. I forgot about the two players that don't want to be called Darius. I love it. I love it. I mean, there's so much wrong with that 23 team. Right? And none of those problems exist right now. At all. Oh, absolutely a snake in the grass. I'll put Adam Schefter as in that same set conversation as well. But it's also not a beauty pageant either. Yeah. It's not a beauty pageant. You think Tampa Bay complained about winning a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson as their quarterback? Or the Ravens when Trent Dilfer won them a Super Bowl? They didn't win it pretty. They won it. It's all that matters. When we look differently, on our first Super Bowl victory in 2017? If it was a 17-10 Super Bowl victory and we didn't get the Philly special? No, we would be still happy about it. I actually like Morrow and Zach Cunningham. Morrow should not have been an all-down linebacker. Zach Cunningham was hurt or coming off injuries, and he was past his prime. Morrow just is a backup guy, a special teamer, thrust into a starting role. The 23 team lacked talent. There was a lot of a lot of inexperienced talent as well, right? I mean, Reed Blankenship was your starting safety. He was an undrafted rookie that year. Tells you a lot about that team. Eagles are the miscongeniality. That's actually not the craziest of comparisons right there. Gene Steratore was one of the best refs out there. I think he had enough of the BS, especially on what it catches. So we're up in our score from 10 under to 11 under, Brian. All right. We're looking about 75, 80 degrees, sunny on Monday. You better be loose and ready to go. I wanted to go out yesterday and practice. I did not get to it. Out of that Trent Dilfer, Curry Collins Super Bowl was brutal. It was. Do you think those teams complain about winning a Super Bowl? No. Who cares? Actually, I bet you there's some people that would love to see, some of those offensive linemen in swimsuits. I don't know why, but I'm sure they do. Look, you can look at things glass half full, glass half empty, whatever. But at the end of the day, wins are what matters most. You can learn just as much from a win as everyone's like, oh, well, you learn more from a loss than a win. No. You can still learn from a win. And guess what? At least you've got a win. I don't want to hear people complaining. I don't know if he is or not, honestly. I am not sure the answer to that question, Marshawn. I'm just been glad we don't have Ortega-Whiteside with his mom holding his umbrella. Exactly. Absolutely. 100%. Still have that photo in my gift library with the Ortega-Whiteside. That's great. It's one of the greatest right there. Glad we ain't Dallas. I'm glad we're not everybody else in the NFL, Rick. And that's something I've asked, like 4 times in the show. Would you rather be in any other team's situation than the Eagles right now? Being 4-0, you know what your weaknesses are, and you've got 14 weeks to fix them. You're 4-0. You got time to get your players healthy. You're 4-0. You can afford a loss later down the line while you're fixing things because you're 4-0. You're 2 games up in the division, 1 game up in the conference. You've got a superstar quarterback. You've got an elite defense. Sayamalu had a huge block that opened up a big hole for Gainwell against the Vikings. He did. Sayamalu was a good lineman. Not great, but good. Eagles lost their top 5 tacklers from 22 to 23. Shit was inevitable. We lost 5 or 6 of our contributors from last year. How about take that into account? All the guys we lost from last year. CJ has not signed anywhere yet. No, he has not. September is the new preseason. It is. And guess what, Rick? Now we're getting into October, right? Sundays will be in October. 30 days has September. Okay, so today's the last day of September. Tomorrow's October. They get back to practice tomorrow in October. They've been able to find a way to win during their preseason. And they're in a better position now than before. TJ Edwards is scared of action. He was a kick it. Man, TJ Edwards was bad. But we thought he was so good, right? We were so upset when we lost TJ Edwards and Kazir White, right? And then we downgraded to Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham. But now we've upgraded to Zach Bond and Jihaad Campbell. It's a great time to be alive. August is the new USFL. I mean, it's not as crazy as it says. About to see another parade in Philly in about a month. Yeah, I was just thinking the other day, Rick, when does the World Series even start? I still remember everyone tearing Howie a new sphincter over. Yeah, I was like, how dare you let TJ Edwards go? I mean, letting TJ Edwards go resulted in us getting Nicholas Morrow, which resulted us in getting what we have now. So if we don't let TJ Edwards go, we might not have Zach Bond and Jihaad Campbell right now. He produced not that much in Chicago, did he? Is he still in Chicago? I think that was only like a 2-year deal originally in Chicago. He did sign cheap. TJ Edwards, I guess you could say, you could compare him to the whole situation with Isaiah Rodgers. He signed cheaply elsewhere. This is Bryson Stott's postseason. Oh, that'd be great. If I had to say, this is not a prediction on who I think will thrive. Top 3 players I would love to see thrive in the postseason for the Phillies. Bryson Stott would be one of them, 100%. Brandon Marsh would be another one, and Harrison Bader. They're the 3 guys I want to have huge postseason. Side note, I saw this just before the show. Did anybody know, or am I the only one that did not know, that Harrison Bader is cousins with Scott Baio? Charles in Charge. Where the hell did that come from? How did I not know that he was related to Scott Baio? Charles in Charge. Dun-dun, dun. I don't remember the rest of the words of that. Who knew? John Campbell is lights out. He is. I think Luzardo has a big playoff run. That'd be pretty awesome as well. Castellanos going to get, I'm sure Anthony's going to comment right away after that. But yeah, maybe if he plays enough. Detroit's defense is no bueno. Terrion Arnold sucks. We could be with Terrion Arnold, not Quinion Mitchell, right? I know I wanted Terrion Arnold there, right? Cassie is dancing on his head. Mind blown. Bader and Baio are related. Does he? I haven't looked at pictures of them side by side. When I saw that tweet, it was something from an MLB Network post, so I'm sure they did their research, and that was just not fake news. Bader and Baio, and I guess Baio has a brother that's a bassist in some big band. Bader and Baio are related. 6 degrees of Scott Baio. I guess we're all related to Scott Baio in some capacity, right? Imagine if Howie drafted Arnold, it's Jefferson all over again. Yeah. I remember that draft process, too. There were a lot of the draft experts, the draft touts, Marshawn, that had us drafting Cooper Dejean in the first round. Okay? Because he wasn't going to fall far enough. Howie made mistakes in the past. Not lately. Not the last 3 or 4 years in the draft. Maybe he's gotten a little lucky. But Terrion Arnold was arguably one of, if not the best wide or cornerback in that draft by expert projections. And we passed him for Quinion. Howie made the smart move there. Some Italian dude married some Jewish woman. Is that what it is? Anyway. I saw somebody else talking about that on social media, the Arnold over Quinion Mitchell conversation just the other day. Just think about this. Quinion Mitchell yesterday, or on Sunday, targeted 9 times. Quinion and Cooper were each targeted 9 times. Keely Ringo was only targeted 3 times because he had his spot locked down. You couldn't throw that way. That's what I'm going to tell myself. 9 targets for Quinion Mitchell. 2 catches for 6 yards. 5 pass breakups in 1 game. A 39.6 quarterback rating for Baker Mayfield throwing in Q's direction. I wanted Q, but only because he was linked to the Eagles all summer. Arnold was lights out in Bama. See, I didn't have any research on Q because I didn't think Q or Terrion Arnold were going to be there. What was that, like 21 or 23 they picked at? Whatever point that they picked him at, Marshawn. Nobody thought that any of that was the draft where I think it was like 15 straight offensive players were taken to start that draft. Nobody saw it playing out the way it played out that draft. So Quinion Mitchell, when he came to him, I'm like, oh, shit. I heard about this. It's the same thing happened with Jihaad Campbell this year. Jihaad Campbell, I had 0 research on Jihaad Campbell. Why? So the dude was a top 10, top 15 prospect. No reason for him to fall to the Eagles. We were either going to get Q or Coop. Howie came away with both. Still, I figured Coop was the guy. Can you imagine if everything plays out differently and we have to take Cooper in the first round? Who knows who we gets in the second round? Who knows what's wrong with our secondary right now if we have just Cooper and not both? Yeah, I thought Quinion Mitchell was like a 12 to 15 guy. Howie has become the king, Adam, for sure. Cooper was hurt. That's why he dropped. And that's why he did not play till week 6. Because he sat out a lot of the training camp and preseason. I think he got a little bit of action in the final preseason game. Guys, we've gained 2 subscribers today. We're at 708. We've got 20 likes on the video. If you have not yet, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share. We're coming up on the final 5 minutes here. Coop is the best open field tackler in Eagles history. I mean, the guy's made some really great tackles this year. The guy is not afraid to lay his body on the line to tackle anybody out there. Running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. I remember this name. I don't know where he went, and I don't know how he's doing. The poll. We're 25 votes in. Who cares? We are 4-0 is 40%. He needs to shut up. Yes, has bumped up to second place at 28%. The other 2 options are both at 16%. So we're gaining a little bit more momentum on the poll on the A.J. Brown needs to shut up thing, just so you know. Oh, Washington, that's right. That's right. I knew that. Sorry. Anyway. Final 4 minutes now. Coop and Makuba are both great heat-seeking missiles. But see, the thing is, the difference between them, heat-seeking missiles, and the heat-seeking missile of Sidney Brown is they know how to throttle down and shift and pivot. Sidney Brown's problem is he's a missile that only has one speed. When Coop stopped chasing Chase on 4th and 1 last year, I said he ain't just an affirmative action hire. Wonder how long Wentz is going to start. There's a chance he's still starting when we face them in a couple weeks. They said about 4 weeks. Honestly, if Wentz plays even half decent, he played half decent this past week. If he plays half decent, they might just stick with him. The world corrected itself there, too. Wentz is finally throwing passes to Justin Jefferson, which is something that should have happened all along as well, right? Makuba ain't got that GPS on his heat-seeking missile. Sidney Brown is kamikaze. That's a great way to describe it, yes. Vikings are still overseas again. Yeah, they're playing twice over there. I mean, that's smart to just keep them over there. No, McCarthy, they said, was going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. He's missed 2 so far. We play them in 3 weeks. So right in the middle of his expected return is the Eagles game. So maybe you sit him an extra week so he doesn't have to go up against Vic Fangio's defense for his 2nd or 3rd start of his career. McCarthy was with the phantom injury. Is it just because he stinks? He might stink. I don't know. What I do know is that even if you think the Eagles stink, guess what? They're 4-0. Despite the conversation, the Eagles are actually undefeated. And I think people will forget that. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Let people continue to underestimate the Eagles. That's what I say. Howie has to replenish the edge talent. The Eagles do need to make some phone calls. I'm surprised no one was brought in yesterday. With Big O now on IR for the year, there is a lack of edge rushing on the team. And I said it earlier in the show, Marshall, maybe it was before you joined the chat, but maybe with Nakobe Dean's pending return, you see Zach Bond blitzed 5 times last week. That's a lot for Zach Bond. I don't think he blitzed 5 times off the edge all of last year. Okay? So maybe you bring in Nakobe Dean, he gets 10 or 15 snaps, and you slide Bond or Campbell to the outside. Maybe. Thank you very much. Always great. You're wearing an NL Champ shirt, participation trophy? It's the National League Championship shirt from 22. It was just the top shirt in the clothes pile today. It's a shirt that gets worn. I got my shirts that I wear to work and my shirts that I don't wear to work. This is a wear to work shirt, okay? It's black. You know, you work in a pizza shop, red sauce, you wear black, okay? It's a common thing. Anyway, got to wrap this show up. Got to get to work today, guys. Got lots happening. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Another great show today. Like, subscribe, share. Tell a friend. We're 708 subscribers. At my current rate, maybe we can get to 750 by the end of the week. 760 maybe. It's very possible. But I need everybody to do their part and help me grow this channel. I'm going to put that subscriber code on all platforms every day. Appreciate that. K1, deuces. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back to being Mr. Negative tomorrow, Rick. Don't worry. I can't be too positive too frequently, right? But with that being said, guys, I got to wrap this baby up today. I got Big Worms ice cream shirt on. Don't know what that is. Peace out, A-Town. Who? Who's A-Town Down? He's M-I. A-Town Down is M-I-A from what I heard. I don't really watch much anymore. Anyway, guys, everybody have a great day. We're back tomorrow, same time, same bat channel, same bat time. Go Birds. Bubbles up.